NBA draft is 1 week away. Could Chris Cenac Jr. be one of the pieces missing to push our Spurs from contender to champion? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. The draft is next Tuesday. And a name that I've seen the most from you guys on this channel is Chris Cenac Jr. So let's find out who Chris is and what he brings. If you don't already know, of course, I'll give my 2 cents while talking about him, etc., etc. First up, this is from Tankathon, a little bit of measurables from the Houston Cougar. He is 6'10 and a quarter, not 6'11 and a half. That's his height with shoes. He is a little over 6'10, 240 pounds, so he is girthy. He's got a 37-inch max vertical, a 7'5" wingspan, and in their mock draft, they actually have our Spurs taking him with the 20th overall pick. Okay, but let's find about the player a little bit. This is from Babcock Hoops, and we're going to get the strengths and weaknesses of Chris from this particular website. I'll put the link in the comments below if you want to take a look at it. So let's look at his strengths. Quick off his feet, runs the floor well, and changes directions with surprising fluidity for his build. Okay, so he's mobile. As far as his defense, his length and mobility make him effective in ball screen coverage, rotating as a help side defender, and controlling the glass on both ends of the court. Okay, that's pretty darn important to me, Spurs fans, because we certainly had trouble rebounding at times, not just in the finals, but in the playoffs. So we can get another strong rebounder out there. Sounds good. He is a dynamic finisher around the rim as a lob threat. Okay, another lob threat. I like it. While also comfortable facing up and attacking off the dribble. Flashes his touch with his jumper, and he's shown improvements in stretching the floor. So a stretch 4, stretch 5. He is kind of a hybrid power forward center. So, okay, stretch 4 the ability, and stretch floor ability, we could use that. And it has ball handling ability uncommon for his size. Able to push and transition after rebounds, shows instincts as a passer. All right, I like all those things, right? So here's the thing, though. Players, of course, are not perfect, and he does have some things he needs to work on. As far as concerns, his impact dips due to lapses in assertiveness and energy. That sounds like a player we currently have on the roster. Just saying. Can be turnover prone when over dribbling or forcing the issue. We have a few guys that applies to. Prone to picking up fouls and will need to improve his defensive technique and decision making to stay on the floor. That certainly applies to one player. And the players that I'm referencing, of course, is with the assertiveness and energy. That would be Victor Wembanyama. Maybe over dribbling and forcing the issue. Wemby and Castle run into that. And then Castle will be the guy that's certainly struggling with foul discipline. All right, so we got some strengths, we got some weaknesses, we got a little general idea of what he would bring to the floor, but where is he projected to go in the draft? Right now on ESPN's draft board, they have the Raptors taking him 1 place ahead of us. And that, I think, has got to be the worst feeling in a draft, is if a player you want literally goes 1 spot before your team's about to pick. That would be a nightmare. And I do want to actually note what they put here. Cenac appears to have stabilized himself in the 14 to 22 range, which I agree, that's kind of what I'm seeing online, where he is under consideration for every team looking for front court help, and certainly we are a team that needs front court help. By the way, they have our Spurs right below, drafting Allen Graves, the power forward out of Santa Clara. I've seen quite a few mocks with us drafting him, so obviously doing a draft video on him makes sense for the near and foreseeable future. Okay, that's ESPN. How about Sports Illustrated? We actually have him going past our pick at 22, which is where we were just talking about. That's kind of where he's falling in between 14 and 22. I haven't seen any mocks have him being drafted as high as 14, but that late teens, early 20s does seem to be his home spot. It should be noted, Sports Illustrated has us drafting Cameron Carr from Baylor with the 20th overall pick. All right, let me get my 2 cents. I could sit here and look at mock drafts left and right from a zillion different people from different websites. And the big thing is, who the heck knows what's going to happen draft night and who will actually be available at number 20? Could be Chris Cenac Jr., Morez Johnson Jr., Heinz Thomas. Who knows? We don't know. A lot of the plays we've been talking about on the channel likely be gone at 20. But you never know. There's going to be teams that reach for a player that we don't expect them to. More often than not, that happens, right? And a player that's ranked in the 20s can all of a sudden jump into the teens. And some guys we thought were going to go higher jump back. All right. Slow down, TSR. Whoever the Spurs draft, it is highly unlikely they start, barring a miracle. And there's a good chance our 20th overall pick starts the season with Austin in the G League. Of course, a strong summer league by the player and strong preseason could, of course, change everything where they go from being a G League prospect to somebody that might come off the bench a la Bryant did his rookie year, or maybe they have such a phenomenal preseason summer league. Of course, this is Cinderella story scenario. They are a starter day one. As far as Chris, I'm on board with him being drafted at 20. Is he the perfect pick? No. A perfect pick would mean a major role right away, and that is not likely the 20th overall pick. That being said, I sure as heck would rather him than the large amount of money the Spurs wasted on Kelly Olynyk, which was $13.5 million, to get somebody that we can play hopefully right away. And I know a lot of you talk about on the channel, TSR, we don't have time to develop players. Well, we still need to get some big guys in here. If we can't get them via trade or free agency, and that will be let me segue into that. We absolutely do need another big. Can we get one of free agency or via trade? That's something that I will be taking a look at in the very near future. My goodness. But as far as the draft, we do have 4 picks next Tuesday and Wednesday. I wonder if we'll try to trade up. I'm throwing some questions out to you guys. Is there a chance we trade up? We have a zillion second-round picks. We have a lot of pick swaps in the future. Do we try to move up to get somebody different? And if so, who? I just mentioned Keldon Johnson Jr., Heinz Steinbach. There's other players. Jaxel Lexenberg. I'm going to mess up his name. Lexenberg. Forgetting his whole name right now. Is it Jaxel Lexenberg? There's a lot of players, the bigs, that you guys have been talking about on the channel that not expected to be there at pick number 20. So do the Spurs try to move? Or do we trade the 20th overall pick? Do we try to find a big in free agency? I think we all agree. We need somebody bigger in the starting lineup. And I have some ideas I want to throw out in the near future, too, about what's going to happen with Wemby. But running Fox, Castle, Vassell, Champagny, Wemby is just too darn small. Of course, we still have the issue now. If you start Harper, what's that mean with the starting lineup? Fox, Castle, Harper, Castle? That's a lot of guys that don't shoot the three extremely well at the moment, at least based on last season now. And then Wemby and another big. There's a lot of question marks. As phenomenal as this year has been, making the NBA Finals, and as unexpected as it has been, I think we are, no, because we didn't win the championship, we're a few roster tweaks away from being a championship team. The question is, who? Who moves where? What happens? A lot of people, I'm seeing trade Fox more than I've ever seen for any other player on the Spurs in the history of this channel. The trade Keldon Johnson talk was very heavy 2 years ago. Trade Vassell was popping around last year. But the trade Fox said that is by far the biggest trending trade person ever on the history of this channel. The second biggest trending thing would be fire Mitch. So I don't think Mitch is getting fired. I see reports that the Spurs are sticking with Fox, but you also, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. If you're trying to trade a player, you're not going to put out there, oh, we really want to move on from him. No, you're going to say, no, we're sticking with this guy. This is our guy. You want to try to sell him as more than he is. If they can trade Fox for a big, you guys have thrown out Giannis out there. I don't see Giannis happening. Miles Turner, who knows? Michael Porter Jr., etc. Larry Markkinen still comes up. I'll address that more in the future, but I'm just kind of rambling now as we're kind of tying into everything here with the draft and what happens with this 20th pick. Could this 20th pick be a piece we trade with the player, i.e. De'Aaron Fox, to get the big we need to finish up the starting lineup? All right, that's all I got. Let me wrap this up. I'm getting long-winded here. Spurs fans, how would you feel if he's drafted 20th? Would you be happy, or is a player that you think would realistically be available at 20 that would better fit the team? Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and want to help support the channel. Subscribe and become part of our awesome Spurs community. I thank you, and as always, go Spurs go!